Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. What I'd like to do is I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about me and how I got involved with 25 different body types, which seems like an overwhelming number. And my background is chiropractic, acupuncture, and nutrition. And I have a private practice in Rancho Santa Fe, California, which is the San Diego area. And so I found that as I started working with people, I needed to do more than When I started working with people, I found that I needed more than just giving people a standard diet and the obvious things of don't eat refined carbohydrates, leave the junk food out, eat fresh fruits and vegetables, and avoid the GMOs, all of these common things that you're familiar with. And so as I started looking at various different diet systems, I found that a lot of them were combination systems. They really didn't go far enough and didn't really give me the practical knowledge that I needed. From my own experience, I was born on a farm, and so that meant that we raised cattle and beef and chicken and had a garden, and so all of the classic, this is what you should eat. And when I went to chiropractic college, I was introduced to the Ayurvedic diet and also more macrobiotics, and started eating a lot of brown rice and vegetables and stopped eating the red meat. And at that point, I was able to get rid of the weight I had gained around the middle and the gas and the bloating, and thought this is great. So then from there, I proceeded to follow a vegetarian diet, started adding more cheese as a protein source, and over the years I started putting weight on my thighs and my immune system started breaking down. It took about 10 years to get to that point, and then as the universe would have it, it wasn't time for me to stay on that path anymore, so I met a man who loved deep sea fishing. And I couldn't exactly say, I'm not going to eat your fresh caught fish because I'm a vegetarian and I'm healthy. So as I started doing that, I got rid of the extra weight that I had put on. And I had a patient bring in a book, and this was Dr. Bravanel's book on body typing. This was based on Dr. Beeler's work, and Dr. Beeler had identified 3 different body types that were based on your dominant glands. And so those are the strongest glands, the adrenal glands, the pituitary, and the thyroid. And then there was an extra one for women that was gonadal. I thought this was a little strange that since the gonadal is the reproductive organs, there wasn't one for men. But anyway, that was my first clue that there was a little more to this than what was presented. As I started working with the diet, or started looking at it, fortunately, I ended up being one of the 3 types, and the differences with the different types. So the adrenal body type is the one that most of the diets are based on. So this is the Weight Watchers diet. This is the one where the weight gain is in the upper portion of the body, so it's torso area, not so much in the legs and thighs. And this is the one that can eat raw, fresh fruits and vegetables, particularly yogurt and cottage cheese and salads. And when they do that, they're able to get rid of a lot of the extra weight, and they're able to do that very well. So these are the star dieters. Oprah is an adrenal body type. So it kind of gives you an idea of what the energy's like and the vitality. I also discovered there was a personality that went with each particular body type. Then there was the pituitary body type. And so the pituitary, we know that the pituitary is the master gland, and that's the one that tells all the other glands what to do. This particular body type was just the opposite. With the adrenal body type, if the adrenal eats a large breakfast in the morning, they're eating all day long. And so for them, these are the ones that can do a light breakfast, moderate lunch, and eat later in the day. Or they can kind of switch that and do more of a larger lunch and do lunch dinner. And the pituitary, on the other hand, is just the opposite. This is the one that if they eat protein or a larger meal in the evening, they don't digest it very well. And as a result, they start putting on a lot of extra weight. So the pituitary body type ideally is the one that should eat the majority of their food by 2 p.m. And the adrenal body type is the one that should stay away from beef and red meat, a lot of salt. These are your typical, what do you do to prevent a heart attack? Whereas the pituitary is just the opposite. And the pituitary is actually good if they would have steak and eggs in the morning for breakfast, because that gets the energy down into the body and gives them the fuel that they need to be able to digest their food throughout the day. And they do not do well if they're trying to eat protein in the evening, because they're not digesting it. They don't have the energy in the body to be able to do that very well. And then there is a third type, and the third type is the thyroid type. Fortunately, I ended up being one of those three types, and found that by incorporating more protein back into my diet, that was what I needed to balance my system. And so for the thyroid body type, what you're needing is the steamed vegetables rather than a lot of raw, and the foods that will support the system, rebuild the adrenals, because the thyroid is opposite the adrenal glands. And so in order to rebuild the adrenals, what you need is the fish, turkey, chicken, as opposed to beef, because beef stimulates the adrenal glands. And so for the thyroid body type, beef is actually a rare food. And I grew up eating a lot of beef, so that when I cut that out, that made a huge difference for me. And when it comes to body shape, I am wearing Prima Java's clothes, so you can see what the thyroid type looks like. And basically what happens for the thyroid body type is we tend to gain weight more in the lower body, so that's abdomen and thighs primarily. And so for the thyroid body type, if the thyroid follows the adrenal weight loss, which is the yogurt and cottage cheese and a lot of salads, what happens is we lose weight, but it's in the upper body where we don't want it, and unfortunately put more weight on in the lower body, which is what we wanted to get rid of in the first place. So in working with the different body types, what I discovered is that there were also types that would be didn't fit in the same categories. When I started doing a lot of the body typing, I was teaching a class at the adult school, and my mother would assist me with the introductions and the class, and she would take the test. And so after a while, she said, you know, every time I take this test, I come up with a different body type. And that was one of my clues that there was more to it than the 4 types that Abravanel had introduced. I was then introduced to another typing system which had 8 types. This was from an anthropologist. And that particular type system included a type called balanced, which means that there's no one gland, organ, or system that's in charge. Not that the balanced type means that you're absolutely perfect. It also means that there are challenges with that one as well. And a pineal and a pancreas. And so when I looked at that, I thought, well, if the pancreas can be dominant, why can't the liver and the spleen and the kidney? And as I started working with different people, I found the same thing that I found with every other typing system, is that it really didn't go far enough. And I started discovering that there were other glands that would be dominant. The way I discovered that was which foods supported the system. If you look at a person energetically, where's that dominant energy? There's some people, you look at them and you look at the face, and that's where the dominant energy is. You look at others where it can be in the lower body or upper body. So one by one, I discovered there are 25 different body types. Next question is, with so many, how do you put that into something that you can work with? You can divide that into 3 basic areas, which is, do you gain weight in your upper body, your lower body, or all over? And in typing well over 5,000 women, I haven't found a woman yet that doesn't know where that is. So we all know where our problem areas are. It's where your first 5-10 pounds are. And then from there, I went through the foods to find what are not only the foods that support your system most, which are in 3 different categories. Your frequently foods are, this is your default, things you can do 3 to 7 times a week. What do I eat? Then you have your moderate. This is where the bulk of the foods are. These are ones you're going to do 1 to 2 times a week. It gives you a lot of variety. And then we have the rarely foods. These are foods that no matter how healthy your system is, these are more challenging for you. And some of the rarely foods are interesting. Like for the blood body type, for example, they do not do well with olive oil, whereas the pancreas, it's excellent. Adrenal does not do well with cucumbers or shrimp, but do well with a lot of other salads. So I found that I needed to go through each food, and not only the foods, but also the different combinations. And what I created in Different Bodies, Different Diets is a profile that will tell you what foods support your system when you're at your ideal healthy state, what do you do when your body's really stressed, and you want to be able to come into a point of balance. So a lot of times I would have patients that had so much stress in their digestive system, anything they ate caused problems, and that's why I created the rarely list. Then the next thing is, what am I going to eat for breakfast? Most of us have a challenge with that one. We'll find that there are certain things we like, and we'll have a tendency to eat the same thing 3 or 4 days in a row. The problem with that is it depletes pancreatic enzymes. And so I also came up with 20 to 50 menu suggestions for every meal. And this is to give you a place to start, because your body will tell you what's right for you. We look at a lot of personal development. How do we get there? It's by being aware of what's going on inside us, because your body never lies. That's the thing I love about applied kinesiology and communicating with the body. And so when you eat foods that truly support your system, you know how that feels. And when you eat something that doesn't, you have a reference point, which allows you to get back to the point. I've had people tell me that when I follow your diet, I feel good. I created the 25 different body types to come up with a program that's going to truly support you on a day-to-day basis, whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to gain weight, whether you want to maintain weight in order to be really healthy. And I also found that your body type is something that you're born with. If you know what body type your children are, then you can support them and give them the foods that are going to support them, so that you're not having to have them eat something that they don't like and then go into the food battle. So next question is, what do you do with discovering different body types, and how do you work with it? The book Different Bodies, Different Diets is one way. Levels of Love is a local area that can also do the typing. My website, Different Bodies, Different Diets, and with that one you can go into a computer program on determining your particular body type. I also found the personality profile is another one that's huge. And with the personality profile, I have people accusing me of riding around their back pockets for 20 years. So it's, what are your strengths? What are your challenges? And if you identify some of those things on the adverse side, then what do you do about it? So I wrote another book, which was Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils. This is how do you change a negative emotion into a positive, and how do you get there? Oils hold another vibrational frequency to allow you to do it. When it comes to relationships, there's another article that I wrote on Wake Up Women, and that was healing the relationship with our mothers. And so we know that it's our relationship with our mother that really reflects a lot of our relationships with ourselves. And what I discovered when I discovered my mother's body type and started researching that, that I was able to truly appreciate her strengths rather than looking at my expectations. And that is so empowering in all of your relationships. I found that the real value when I was doing the body typing was the relationships with self and relationships with others. I will also be doing a drawing for all the books, and so we'll draw that at about 4:15. So if you'd like to come by the booth, and that way you can pick it up this evening. So, thank you.